Amidst the fears about the possible implosion of the ruling People's Democratic Party, President Goodluck Jonathan appears undisturbed, insisting that the PDP remains intact. In fact, the president described those with grievances as minor, giving the assurance that all will be resolved. The president was speaking at the PDP post-convention dinner at the banquet hall of the presidential villa, where he gave the newly elected national officers of the party his support.
The People's Democratic Party has made it a point of duty to encourage what it calls periodic dinner to interact with party faithfuls across the country, especially when it has made major breakthroughs like successful convention, according to the president, to bond with each other. But the talk about bonding may be contrary to what is obtainable in the PDP now, because the PDP has witnessed more of disintegration than bonding, as some members of the party have formed what they call a new PDP. But the president thinks otherwise.
PDP is intact. That some of us have grievances is normal, is natural, and it has been happening. And as sometimes these things are blown out of proportion on the pages of papers, PDP is intact, PDP will remain intact.
The president's speech was just one out of the numerous fireworks from the platform. For the chairman of the Board of Trustees, September ending is deadline for anyone who is nursing ambitions.
I will appeal to our leader, the president of this country, that at the end of September, as we enter October, we will not be able to hold back anybody and tell him or her that the time is not right.
It is important, note that breaking the rules and regulation of the party, circumventing the party policy, flagrant abuse of the party constitution, including confrontation and insult on the integrity of the leaders, can no longer be tolerated.
We, the governors who are behind you and behind the party, are very interested in receiving our colleagues back, but the message from the grassroots is that the people are not with those who are not respecting authority.
Some others describe the breakaway as premeditated, while the 36 chairmen of the party, past governors, youth group and even women group pledged loyalty for the PDP.
Reconciliation is good. Reconciliation is wonderful. Reconciliation is necessary, because even the good Lord says, blessed are the peacemakers. So we are not against reconciliation. But at the time when there are claims and counterclaims, the right things to be done is to stand up and be counted. This is the time for consolidation.
And this is why we are standing in unity to affirm our support for Mr. President, to affirm our support for the national chairman, and indeed the party.
The women have decided, sir, that there is a need to complete what you started. And we know that the 4 years is not enough.
Those who have followed crisis situation in the party over the years are waiting to see how this will be resolved and the breakaway governors brought back to the fold. Chukwuma Onwepuse, Channels Television News.
To security matters now, an attack by suspected Boko Haram sect members on a town guarded by a vigilante group in Borno State has led to the deaths of at least 18 people and injured 17 others. The attack, about 72 kilometers west of Maiduguri, the state capital, took place days after the military said it killed at least 50 insurgents in an area to the north. An operative with the Civilian Joint Task Force Vigilante Group said its members were attacked while awaiting Boko Haram's approach on the town. He said the group was able to kill 5 of the sect members and take possession of 4 AK-47 rifles. Another injured civilian JTF operative, 32-year-old Mohammed Abuar, said the military had agreed to watch and lay an ambush against Boko Haram, but when the attackers came, none of them came to assist them. Staying with security matters, the president is not pleased with the inability of intelligence agencies to share information vital to national security. President Goodluck Jonathan made this known at the commissioning of a new Defense Intelligence Agency headquarters that was the complex in Abuja. He urged security agencies to share information in order to effectively tackle crimes in the country.
The inspection of Quarter Guard by President Goodluck Jonathan, the Chief of Staff, top military officers and diplomats were also present to witness the commissioning of the new Defense Intelligence Headquarters complex, Directors Transit Quarters and Works Building in Abuja. The Minister of State for Defense, Mrs. Olushola Obada, noted that the realization of the new structure, which is saving the nation 90 million naira spent every year, would afford officers greater control of their mandate and territory.
On this note, Your Excellency, I want to assure you of the continued loyalty and support of the armed forces in the onerous task of nation building.
Everyone then watched as the president officially launched the 4-story complex and twin duplexes, which took 16 months to complete. But apart from the edifice, which he says is quintessential for promoting work ethics, the president noted the lack of cooperation among security agencies.
It may not be quite right is that our intelligence services are not sharing information. They operate in isolation. And it's not too helpful to government. They must find a way to work together. They must find a way to make sure that they complement their efforts.
This edifice has actually motivated the staff. It's a sign of encouragement. It's a sign that we need to do more to ensure that the challenges we are facing are adequately addressed. It's a matter of time. Capacity building, training together by all security agencies will enhance that level of cooperation and synergy.
Going by the renewed pledges, President Goodluck Jonathan is also waving a positive flag that the erection of this edifice would also mark the beginning of better services by the nation's security agencies. Gloria Umezuki, Channels Television News.
Now, as part of efforts to enhance national security, the police have announced plans to commence biometric central motor registration for all vehicles in the country in September. We apologize for saying November earlier. Now, addressing a news conference in Abuja, the spokesman for the police, Mr. Frank Mba, said the initiative will assist security agents in fighting crime in the country. Mr. Mba asked Nigerians to cooperate by providing relevant data to make the initiative achieve the desired result. The Vice President, Namadi Sambo, says the data that put the number of Nigerian children out of school at 10.5 million is disturbing. Mr. Sambo noted that the federal government will not rest until the trend is reversed. He was speaking at an education summit in Abuja aimed at finding ways to improve the standard of education in Nigeria. The event was also attended by the former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown, who is now the United Nations Special Envoy on Global Education.
Call it the final push by the United Nations towards access to primary education by the year 2015, on initiative of the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. He narrows his vision to Nigeria and discovered that 10.5 million out-of-school children exist in Nigeria, a startling statistics to the federal government.
We have a collective obligation to revise this uncomplimentary position in which we find ourselves.
Former British Prime Minister came with a proposal to the Nigerian government on how to reverse the situation, and that is what the summit is all about.
The government of Nigeria, the federal government, has, as they have told me, $250 million available for investment in education by the states. What we have managed to do by talking to the individual agencies over these last few days is to match that $250 million by the additional $250 million that I'm announcing today, making possible new investment of $500 million in education in Nigeria.
Out-of-school syndrome is prevalent in almost all the states of the Federation, especially in the north. Some of the governors give testimony of what they are doing so far.
When I took over in 2007, there were roughly about 500,000 in school, primary, elementary and high school. But today we have 1.46. But we are still not out of the woods.
An experience we have in issue of teachers is the refusal of teachers to go to the rural areas, especially the riverine areas. We've tried to deal with this by giving incentive to the teachers.
A technical meeting followed the summit to further identify key challenges and match them with action. Perhaps in the next few years, like a dream, the average Nigerian child should be able to read and write. Chukwuma Onwekuse, Channels Television News.